Welcome to Mindful Minerva. Have you ever noticed how your first opinion about someone or something can affect how you feel and behave afterward? The halo effect is a way our brains work that affect many aspects of our lives. It's a big deal, however, we aren't always aware of how much it truly has an impact over us. This effect happens because our brains tend to make quick judgments based on initial impressions. Our brains are wired to rely on shortcuts, especially when forming opinions swiftly. These quick judgments often stem from superficial characteristics, like appearances or a single positive trait. It's like our minds take a shortcut to decide what someone or something is like, without considering all the details. This mental shortcutting can sometimes lead us to make assumptions that might not be accurate or fair. The following are some examples of the halo effect's influence over our daily lives. Imagine being in a work meeting, surrounded by your colleagues, discussing important ideas and strategies. Among them, a person enters the room dressed sharply, exuding confidence in their mannerisms and speech. Instantly, their charismatic appearance captures attention, creating a positive impression that might influence your perception of their competence and capabilities in that setting. The halo effect is at play here. Despite having limited knowledge of this individual's actual skills or expertise, their outward confidence and polished appearance might lead you to assume they possess a higher level of competence and leadership qualities. This tendency to judge someone's professional abilities based on superficial traits, like appearance or charisma, is a common manifestation of the halo effect in work environments. It's intriguing how our brains tend to form quick judgments, drawing conclusions about a person's abilities or competence from initial impressions. In this scenario, the individual's polished appearance and confident demeanor create a halo effect, essentially coloring your perception of their professional skills, irrespective of concrete evidence supporting their proficiency. However, this bias isn't always accurate. The halo effect can trick us into overestimating someone's capabilities solely based on surface-level attributes. It might lead us to overlook other essential factors, such as actual expertise, experience, or track record, which are more reliable indicators of professional competence. Before we continue, please take a second now to subscribe to the channel, as we would be very appreciative if you did. With that, let's get right back into the video. In the world of medicine, it can quietly influence how doctors make decisions about a patient's health. Even though they have a lot of knowledge, they can still be swayed by biases they might not even realize they have. Picture a doctor meeting a patient for the first time. The way the patient looks, acts, or talks might create an impression in the doctor's mind, even without them knowing it. This initial impression can steer how they perceive the patient's health problems. For instance, a doctor might connect how the patient appears or behaves with a particular illness, even if that might not be accurate. This can cause the doctor to overlook important signs or make a wrong diagnosis. This halo effect makes the doctor focus on things that match their first impression and might ignore other crucial details about the patient's health. This tendency to rely heavily on first impressions can cloud a doctor's judgment, making it tricky to figure out the real health issue. To solve this problem, doctors need to be aware of these biases and try to see the whole picture. They should pay attention to all the symptoms and use tests or exams, not just trust their initial thoughts about a patient. By doing this, doctors can offer better care by focusing on the actual health problems of the patient, not just what they quickly notice or assume at first glance. Let's consider how we approach meeting new people and forming opinions about them. When we encounter someone for the first time, our minds swiftly absorb bits of information, like how they look and act. These little details shape our initial thoughts about who they might be, whether they're friendly or smart, based on those first clues. This rapid judgment affects how we engage with individuals within our social circle. Think of it as solving a puzzle with just a few pieces. With limited information, our brains try to create a whole picture of who that person is. We start making assumptions and guesses about their personality or character, which might influence how we behave around them or how much we trust them from the very start. These snap judgments about someone we've recently met play a significant role in how our relationships develop. They set the tone for our interactions and guide our behavior towards them. However, these quick assumptions may not always be accurate or fair. Recognizing our tendency to make fast judgments based on limited details can prompt us to reconsider our initial perceptions. Understanding that people are more complex than just what we see in the first few moments can help us approach new relationships with more openness. It's important to realize that everyone has many layers beyond their initial impression, and it might take time and multiple interactions to truly understand who they are. By being aware of this tendency to judge quickly, we can give people a fair chance to reveal their true selves and build stronger, more genuine connections over time. The influence of the halo effect stretches its reach into the world of politics. Surprising findings from studies reveal an intriguing connection between a politician's physical appearance and how people perceive their leadership abilities. When voters see a politician who appears attractive or exudes confidence and strength, they tend to assume that person is better equipped to lead. This link between looks and perceived leadership skills can have a significant impact on election outcomes. What's astonishing is that this bias towards appearance might overshadow a politician's policies, experience, or qualifications in the eyes of voters. Essentially, it means that the way a politician looks or presents themselves might have more sway over people's opinions than their actual abilities or ideas. Imagine this scenario. Two politicians have equally solid policies and qualifications, but one has a more appealing appearance or a more commanding presence. Research indicates that voters might lean towards the candidate who looks the part of a leader, even if their policies or expertise aren't any better than the other candidates. This tendency for people to judge politicians based on their appearance highlights the powerful role that superficial attributes play in shaping political opinions. It indicates that voters might place a stronger emphasis on how a politician looks or carries themselves rather than focusing on their ideas or experience. Recognizing this aspect of human behavior raises questions about how much importance should be given to superficial traits in the electoral process. It challenges the notion of whether voters are making decisions based on substantive factors like policies and qualifications, or if appearances tend to overshadow these critical aspects of it. In the world of selling things, the halo effect is front and center. Companies will look to team up their products with famous or really cool people to make their stuff seem better. Breaking it down further could look something like this. A company wants you to buy their new sports shoes. So what they will likely do is get a famous athlete, someone you really admire, to say, "I love these shoes. They are amazing and are the best ones that I've ever owned in my life." Now, when you see this athlete, who you think is awesome, saying they like those shoes, you might start thinking, "Wow, those shoes must be really good if my favorite athlete likes them." This feeling of positivity you have towards the athlete rubs off onto the shoes they're endorsing. It's like a shining halo around the shoes because of how much you like the person who's promoting them. This halo effect is a sneaky trick companies use to make their products seem more attractive. They want you to think that if someone you admire likes something, then it must be awesome. Because of this, they team up their products with famous people to make you feel good about what they're selling. It's a way they try to convince you to buy their stuff by using the good feelings you have for the person endorsing the product. Being aware of how much the halo effect has a hold over us helps us see and reduce its influence on our choices. We all tend to make quick judgments. It's just something our brains do naturally. But it's super important to know about these biases and try to deal with them. When we quickly decide what we think about someone or something, we might not always be fair. But if we understand that this happens, we can try to change it. By realizing that our first impressions might not always be accurate, we can start challenging ourselves to think differently. This means being aware of our tendency to judge quickly and trying to be more open-minded. It's like giving ourselves a chance to rethink our first thoughts and consider other perspectives. In conclusion, the halo effect is a powerful concept, shaping our thoughts and decisions based on initial impressions. It affects how we judge people, products, and situations without considering all the facts. By realizing this bias, we can become more aware of our quick judgments and strive to look beyond surface appearances. This awareness helps us make fairer assessments and form opinions based on a fuller understanding rather than solely relying on first impressions. As always, thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, as your support would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, take care, and we will see you in the next video.